Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? Today on Telechazi, I'm gonna tell you a story. A very, very dramatic story. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, the master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. And that's it. I can't narrate the next part because I'm not Katara, so, well, you know. But anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite television series of all time, Avatar: The Last Airbender. This show, to me, way back in the day, was the pinnacle of Nickelodeon. It was my absolute favorite series, and it ran from 2005 to 2008, you know, and there are 3 different seasons, or books as we call them, you know. There was book 1, Water, book 2, Earth, and book 3, Fire, you know. And the thing, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you know what this show is, you know, if you live in the United States. I don't think it ever became too popular here in Brazil, which is a shame. But anyway, basically, it is a show that talks about Aang, who is the new Avatar, you know, able to manipulate all 4 natural elements to bring balance to the world, you know. And throughout the time, there's a war between the Fire Nation and the other nations. Why? I don't know. They just want to. The Fire Nation are filled with aggressive douches, and they just want to make everyone's lives miserable, you know. So that's kind of how it works. And Aang, after being frozen in an iceberg for 100 years, you know, is found by Katara and Sokka, 2 Water Tribe brother and sister, 2 Water Tribe siblings, you know, who eventually embark on a mission to help Aang learn the different elements and go to different places, you know, all over the world. And it's really cool. Now, this series is basically, it takes place in kind of like a less modern past, you know, like kind of like way back in the day when they still had monks, you know, and things of the sort, you know. And they actually mix a few different cultures. I was unable to memorize it, so I'm just gonna read it for you guys here. It mixes mainly East Asian cultures with some South Asian cultures, New World cultures, and Inuit and Sri cultures too. Influences of a whole bunch of things, you know. Basically, now here's the thing. Before I get into it, this show has nothing at all to do with the very, very crappy and horrible live-action remake by M. Night Shyamalan in 2010, The Last Airbender. Disconsider that completely. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and it completely sucked. But anyway, let's talk about the show itself. I really, really, really enjoyed the show. Let me make sure my timer is on here. And I recently rewatched it now in 2020, 15 years after it aired. Of course, 12 years after it ended, if you want to be a little more specific, you know. And I honestly think that it was one of the best things ever, because it had been so long since I've seen it, and to this day it holds up so well, you know. I hope that the wind blowing in isn't going to interfere with the audio here. But I thought that it really, really aged very well, you know. Even the jokes and the references, there is a lot of a few things that probably didn't age too well. Like the Sokka character, for example, is very, very he's very anti-feminist, you know. He's really like a macho man, you know. He's very disrespectful, you know. But in general, I do think that there is a lot of there's a lot to, how can I say? There's a lot to appreciate in this series, you know, and to me it is literally perfect, you know. There is nothing wrong with Avatar: The Last Airbender, you know, and the character dynamics, the development is really strong, you know. We have Zuko, who pretty much serves as the primary antagonist all the way through to book 3, where he becomes an ally and teaches Aang firebending, you know, and we see the story behind Zuko, everything that's happening, you know, that makes him be what he is, you know. And there are a lot of really interesting characters too. There's so much character development, it's crazy. The dynamics are awesome, you know, because the characters grow so much and they mature so much, you know. And at the very end, Aang is just a certified badass who takes down the Fire Lord, you know, who takes down Ozai. And I think that the way he does it is really cool, which paved the way for The Legend of Korra, kind of like the spin-off sequel series, which really sucked. I didn't really even finish it, you know. I think it was really bad. But The Last Airbender, like, it had a lot of focus, you know. Each book like focused on one particular element, you know. So in the first book or the first season, we'd had Aang trying to learn waterbending, you know, and he goes to different places, meets with different masters, you know, until eventually getting to the water tribe. And Katara actually is his teacher at a certain point, you know, but she's also learning herself, you know. So eventually he does learn waterbending from a master in the northern water tribe, I believe, you know, and exploring the dynamics and how different cultures come together, you know, really, really makes a very perfect balance, you know, between the physical world and the spirit world, which I thought was really cool. There are a lot of really interesting villains too, you know, like people and spirits, animals who serve as antagonists, you know, and they also travel all over the place on their companion Appa, who's their flying bison, so he kind of helps them get away from a lot of the trouble that they face, you know, but it does start to get a little overwhelming. And then when we get to book 2, Earth, that's when stuff starts to get really interesting, because he meets Toph, you know, because Toph becomes his earthbending teacher, you know, she is really fascinating. She's a really cool character because she earthbends even though she's blind. She's completely blind, and yet she can see through earthbending. She can feel the vibrations in the earth, you know, around her, and she can earthbend perfectly, you know, and she is really good at it. And eventually she learns metal bending, which is basically like, if you take metal, it's basically earth, but that has been refined many times to eventually become metal, you know, and that really opens up the doors, you know, to something new, you know. And it's really, really awesome how they explore this, you know, because when you master the 4 elements, you know, usually they can really dominate just one, you know. Waterbenders dominate water, airbenders dominate air, you know, firebenders dominate fire, and earthbenders dominate earth, you know. The Avatar is the only one, you know, who can manipulate all 4 elements, you know, and it's pretty interesting to learn, you know. It's pretty interesting to see them learn what they do, you know, especially Aang. Now, the thing with earthbending is that, I mean, he did pick up on it pretty quickly. Waterbending, he picked up on much faster because it's more similar to air, you know. And I do think that firebending is where sorry, I think that season 3 Fire, you know, book 3 is where things got really, really hot, pun intended, you know. Also because Katara learned something new, a new technique called bloodbending, you know, in a probably one of my favorite episodes. It was kind of like a horror-esque suspense thriller, you know, where there's a bloodbender who acts as like a witch, you know, supernatural force who manipulates people, takes them prisoner under a mountain, you know, and Katara learns it because if you really think about it, waterbending, like if you're a waterbender, you really can bend anything that has liquid in it, you know. I mean, blood is liquid, you know, and there's water inside the human body, not blood, but actual water itself, you know, like when you sweat, you know, you're generating water from you. So there actually was an episode where Katara started bending her own sweat to get out of a prison with Toph, you know, really, really cool. Blood bending was pretty intense, you know, it's really hard to see, you know. It's hard to stomach the scenes where you're manipulating somebody, pretty much using the force, like in Star Wars, and the person starts contorting, you know, and their blood, oh God, it's gotta be really painful, you know. Katara really got hard, you know, when she learned bloodbending, but it's a very useful technique, you know, and I think it's really, really cool, you know. I think it's really nice, you know, and firebenders are the most vicious and aggressive kind, you know, because they generate fire, you know, from inside of themselves, you know. The live action movie really crapped on this because they made firebenders only be able to use fire that's already available instead of actually generating it. So yeah, it's my God, that movie sucked so bad. Now, across the series, we see a lot of references to the different cultures that influence the show, you know, that the episodes and the characters and the places, you know. My favorite one is how they use the Chinese philosophy of yin and yang into it, you know. They made yin and yang literally be 2 physical spirits in the physical world, you know, like 2 koi fish, a black and a white koi fish swimming around each other in a pond, you know, and that is what causes the balance in the world, you know. And there is one scene where Zhao, the Fire Lord commander or general, whatever he was, I forgot, he actually kills one of the fish and it immediately throws the world out of balance. I think it was the moon spirit, you know, and immediately everything became red, you know, the moon went out and everything just started going out of whack, you know, it was crazy. So it just goes to show you that you literally can't control these things, you know, like the yin and yang. I mean, you need the balance in the world, you know, everything needs to be the way it is, you know, you can't have one without the other, you can't have darkness without without light. And the show plays on this concept a lot, and I think it's really cool how they do it, you know. And many times, like, the Avatar is the bridge between the spirit world and the physical world, you know. So many times Aang goes back and forth between one and the other to try to balance things out a bit, you know, and talking to spirits and stuff. And I think it was really well done. I think the show is really well done. The soundtrack, the main theme is amazing. I love it so much. What is with this stupid wind almost blowing my camera over? I hope it's not capturing in the audio too bad. But I think that in general, guys, everything was perfect. You know, it was well cast. Like the voice actors and actresses really brought life to their characters. You know, everything was well made. Like the settings, the backgrounds that like really make you think of Asian culture. You know, because the show really is primarily in Asian remnants. You know, like the language that they use, the written kanji is Chinese characters. You know, so I think it's really nice how they explore that. You know, and yeah. I think it's really nice, you know. There are so many layers to it, you know. I watched it really quickly, you know. When I went to rewatch it again all these years later, I think I got through it in a week. Was it a week? No, maybe a little bit more, 2 weeks. I was watching so many episodes per day. No, I actually think I got it in less than a week. I think I watched each one in a day or two, you know, because I was binge watching. Each episode is like 20 or so minutes long, so it's like, didn't really take me that long. So, you know, and I would definitely watch it again soon, you know, and I really wanted to record a review for my channel to tell you guys how much I love this show, you know. It is completely flawless. It is perfect to me. A perfect 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 or anything out of anything that you guys want to put it into, you know. I think it was really cool. And if you guys have never watched this show for any reason, what the hell are you waiting for? You know, if you have Netflix, go and watch it right now while it's still available, you know. Binge watch all the seasons. You're definitely going to love it. Trust me on this one. You're definitely going to love it. It is really cool. I love this series so much, you know. And I think there's actually a live action, a remake. Not really live action, but they're remaking the series with different animation. I don't know why. There is no reason to remake it at all. It's just stupid, you know, but... you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it, guys, you know? I really hope the wind isn't going to interfere with the audio thing here. If it isn't, I'm going to have to re-record this damn video, and I hate re-recording videos. But I guess that's it. At least it's a nice breeze coming in, you know? It's making me feel good. But I think that's it, guys. That's all I can really say about it, you know? Very, very well-made show. Flawless, you know? Very, very well executed. Everything about it is just amazing and spectacular, you know? Everything is fantastic, you know? I love it so much. So many episodes that deal with loss and death and genocide, you know. Very, very heavy themes that usually kids shows don't explore. You know, it is essentially a children's show, but adults can still watch it too and feel really good about it, which is what I did. So yeah, that's it. That's it. The Avatar has brought balance to the end of my video. I don't recommend watching The Legend of Korra though, because it sucks. Forget that. Just watch this one and don't watch the live action movie. It's going to be a waste of your time. Believe me, it sucks. But yeah, that's it really. That's it. That's all I can say about it. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Gotta go eat something, man. I'm really, really hungry. I'm starving. My God.